Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to your Chelsea news. Levi Colwill is out for the season with an ACL injury. Nicolas Jackson is confirmed to be leaving Chelsea this summer and a bidding war has started, and Garnacho has agreed personal terms with Chelsea. Now, of course, I begin my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10k before the end of 2025. Kicking things off, Ben Jacobs reported breaking news late last night that Levi Colwill has an ACL injury and is set for a significant period on the sidelines. Nizar Kinsella have reported that Levi Colwill is expected to be out for the majority of the upcoming season, and Chelsea released this statement regarding Levi Colwill, and it said defender Levi Colwill has today undergone successful surgery to an ACL injury. The 22-year-old had reported back to Cobham for pre-season at the start of the week before unfortunately sustaining the injury in training. Medical assessments confirmed surgery would be the required course of action. Levi will now begin his recovery and will be supported by the club's medical department at Cobham during his rehabilitation phase. Kieran Gill then reported soon after that Chelsea are now assessing whether to bring in another centre-back after the devastating Levi Colwill ACL confirmation. Fabrizio Romano then reported quickly after that Chelsea have not activated any immediate emergency plan to sign a new centre-back after Levi Colwill's injury. They have full trust in the current squad, and Jorel Hato is able to play centre-back / left-back. Now, first off, Levi Colwill, we wish you a speedy recovery. This is not the news that anyone wanted to hear, and I'm absolutely gutted for him. He had an incredible end of the season last season. You could really see the development. He was, developing week by week, game by game, getting better and better. An integral part of Enzo Maresca's system and the backline that he likes to choose. We know that his number one pairing when fit is Levi Colwill and Wesley Fofana. Now, we know Fofana has got recurrent injuries. He's still not quite ready. He may be ready for the first game of the season. But regardless of that, Levi Colwill played so many minutes. He's young. He's stepped into this leader role. He's become very good on the ball. This elite mentality, he's been at the forefront of talking about it in the press. He's been really stepping up and developing week by week. So this is such a massive blow for Chelsea fans, for Levi Colwill, for the club, because he is our, one of the first names in the team sheet when it comes to that defensive line. Now, it seemed like social media went into a bit of a frenzy last night, myself included, asking the question, do we go and buy a centre-back? Are we, we still have cover, right? I mean, right now, the centre-backs we have on the squad list is Colwill injured, Badiashile injured to September, Fofana fragile, coming back for injury, hopefully first game of the season, hopefully he can sustain a long period of fitness. You've got Tosin, you've got Chalobah, you've also got Ashampong, who can play as a centre-back, but majority as a right-back. You've then got Hato, who can play left centre-back and as a left-back. We do have cover. We've got Ansel Mino, we've got Renato Vega. Now, those two players, it's been written on the wall that they're going to be leaving Chelsea this summer. But after this news last night, it kind of put us into a position where we're like, well, what do we do? Do we go and buy a new centre-back? Do we go in all in for a Mark Gahey? Do we go really ambitious and spend a ridiculous amount, panic buy essentially, and go for a Bastoni and spend loads of money? And ideally, yes, a new centre-back would be amazing. But when you really think about it, we'd be buying a centre-back until the end of next season. So maybe a loan makes sense. I don't really know, but I really respect that Chelsea do sort of trust their current squad. Jorel Hato's just got here, and all of a sudden he's got to step up, because Enzo Maresca yesterday's video we spoke about this. Enzo Maresca's press conference, he said Hato's fantastic, exactly what we needed. He's early, he's new here, he still needs time to adapt. Well, that looks like that time is completely gone now, because we're going to need him to play centre-back or as a left-back as cover for Cucurella. Because currently all we have right now who's fit, ready and available at centre-back is Ansel Mino, Vega, who we're looking to get rid of this summer. Hopefully that changes because of the Colwill injury. And then you've got Tosin and Chalobah. Yes, Josh Ashampong is fit as well. He can play right centre-back as well as right-back. James can play as a right centre-back in a back three if needed. We do have options. The question is, over the course of the season, is it going to be strong enough in depth to really, kick on from last season, be better and stronger than last season's defence? Because we got better as the season went on. Yes, we went through that period where, nothing went our way and we couldn't, get a result for Toffee. We started the season incredibly well, but then the end of the season when we really started seeing people improve, kick on, and really get a good run of results. I think we're unbeaten in our last. I think it's like we lost 2 of our last 16 games or something like that. In all competitions, which is wild. It's such a transformation of where we were, in the middle of the season when like I said, we couldn't even win for Toffee. So that it begs the question, what do we do? Because this is massive blow in news to lose Levi Colwill. Some people have predicted that he was going to come back at game week 35. That's 3 games from the end of the Premier League season. Hopefully it's quicker than that. We don't want to rush him back. but we want him to recover quickly. We want him to be able to recover fully. And I'm just praying that he comes back stronger and a better player, because ACLs can really transform players' careers. We've seen it with Kurt Zouma. We've seen it with players like Fofana. There's lots of players throughout history that ACL completely transforms the trajectory of their career. Now, luckily enough, Colwell's very, very young, so he's got a lot of time to kind of bounce back from this. The one thing that's gutting on like an emotional level, maybe a personal level to Levi as well, is this World Cup year. This is the season where, you know, we're getting close to the World Cup next summer. A lot of the international managers, Thomas Tuchel's going to be looking at this England squad throughout the course of the season, and Colwell's just not going to be playing for pretty much all of it. So I really feel for him in that sense, because he ended the season very strong. But in terms of the squad rotation, I do feel confident, and I feel like we have versatility. At the same time, it depends what we're going to do with Renato Vega and Anselmino. Because in my opinion, you have a conversation with Renato Vega and you say, look, you wanted to play centre-back. We weren't, you know, in the position to guarantee you that position because of who else we had playing there. However, due to circumstances changing, you can actually have a very good run out as left centre-back, which is your preferred position. And between Renato Vega and Joel Hato, alternating between cover for Cucurella and left centre-back, as well as Cucurella playing left-back as well, right? That's an very incredibly strong rotation there, at least in my opinion, because I think Vega was a very, very good player for the limited minutes that he had. He showed very good signs of the talent he's got. And Hato, again, incredible player, just new to the league, the country, the culture, the team. And I feel like he has no time to settle in now. It's kind of be like, right, you know, drop him in the deep end and see what happens. I still have a lot of faith in Hato, but I don't want it to be a lot of pressure on him because he is a new signing, if that makes any sense. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding the situation. Like, how do you feel about losing Levi Colwill for most of the season? You know, I posted about this late last night over on TikTok, and the comments were very varied. Some people were saying, you know, it's not that big of a miss, which I think is a bit wild personally. I think he's one of our best centre-backs that we have, and he's really, really kicked on and developed. And like I said, he's the jewel in the crown of Enzo Maresca's defence, and we saw that evidently from the start of last season when it was Colwill and Fofana, and obviously Fofana got injured. But we do have Tosin and Chalobah that are fit, ready and available, have experience in the Premier League, experience in this Chelsea side. You know, when you split it between them, you know, Trevor Chalobah winning trophies here as well. I feel fairly confident in that. Badiashile is injured until September, so that is the alternative left centre-back. Again, he's not here until at least September, the international break, that sort of time. So it's not like we're going to have to go without a centre-back who could play that role very well for a long, long period of time. We do have options. So would you go back in the market and buy a new centre-back, or are you happy with the rotation that we've got? Also with Anselmino, we know how incredibly gifted that guy is. He can play right centre-back, left centre-back. He's left-footed, right-footed. He can ping a ball. He's good on the ball, good in the air. Yes, he's very young, but we bought him because he's one of those little gems, little wonder kids from South America. And again, a loan was touted for him. He's been given a squad number for the first team. And again, the position, left centre-back position, has been blown wide open with Levi Colwill not being there for most of the season, because you've now got Anselmino, Vega, Hato, and Badiashile when he's fit, all competing for that spot. And you've also got Tosin and Chalobah ahead of them. So there is a lot of healthy competition, but do you feel like Chelsea's defence could be strong enough and consistent enough across the season without Levi Colwill and not getting a centre-back in this window? Or would you go into the market and buy a centre-back just to be sure? Because the other sort of side of it that I will say to you is something, you know, people were saying to me last night, and it makes a lot of sense. If you go and buy a centre-back this window, Levi Colwill then comes back to replace him next season. So then what are you going to do? You're going to have an extra centre-back. Is this the opportunity to go all in for Mark Gahey, who looks like he prefers a move to Liverpool, but is very high on Chelsea's target list, and it's gone very quiet since the whole Liverpool links? It's a perfect opportunity in my eyes to do that if you are going to. But at the same time, we do have a lot of players that can play in that position. So very curious to know your thoughts. This is a very sticky one, but let me know. Fabrizio Romano reported late last night, breaking news. I can tell you here today that Jackson will leave Chelsea this summer. It's been decided by both player and club. It's over. He goes on to say the decision is now mutual to part ways. Nicolas Jackson will leave Chelsea. That's the decision of the club and the player. Nicolas Jackson wants to feel important and now wants to go. Chelsea's starting price is £80 million. There are interest from Newcastle, Tottenham, calls from Bayern too, but the Premier League looks like the most likely destination. He continues continues to say that Italian clubs have called to be informed on Jackson's price tag, as it can be reduced from the current valuation of £80 million. Jackson will leave. Sky Sports Germany have reported that Bayern Munich have inquired about Nicolas Jackson, who Chelsea value at £48 million. Fabrizio Romano then finishes the report by saying, as well as Jackson, Christopher Nkunku also not expected to play in upcoming games, as he will leave Chelsea this month. Talks ongoing with several clubs keen and movements taking place for his exit. Jackson and Nkunku both expected to leave. Now, when it comes to Nkunku, when it comes to Nicolas Jackson, the writing has been on the wall for the longest time. We know that Chelsea are looking to offload them. Jackson's been a bit of a different situation because Chelsea haven't been actively looking to sell him. And I've mentioned here a few times on the channel that I'd be happy either way. I think Chelsea are in a very good position where we don't need to sell him. We can keep him. He can go and develop. Great, fantastic addition to the squad. You know, he can keep, fight for his place as the #1 striker, but he can add so much to his game. All he needs is the discipline and the finishing, and he's an unbelievable player, right? Because everything else he does is at a very good standard for this Chelsea squad, and he helps out in ways that Delap and João Pedro won't do because they're just different profiles of players. However, if Chelsea do sell him for a mad amount of money, it's big profit. So I feel like that's very unique. Chelsea haven't been shopping him around, but they have been, dropping hints of like, oh, we'll listen to offers. We're not actively shopping him out, but we'll listen to offers. And if Hugo's going for this much, and Darwin Núñez is going for this much, and we can sell Noni for this much, and all these other players that are going for inflated fees, then well, when it comes to Jackson, we know that there's supply and demand is a thing. There's very low supply and demand of number 9s in European football of a certain standard. Sesko's gone for this much. We're going to benchmark Nicolas Jackson at around £80 million because we feel that's fair. Now, of course, Chelsea are highballing it and they're just trying their luck. So if anyone comes in for 80 million, yeah, sweet, we'll take it. We'll snap your arm off. But realistically, Chelsea will go a lot lower than that. Now, there also was reports before the £80 million price tag that Chelsea are happy to do dealings at £60 million. That's still nearly double what we paid for Jackson a few seasons ago. So it's a very interesting development that Jackson has now said, I want to feel important, I want to feel special, I'm not getting that at Chelsea. We've taken on 2 more strikers. Well, 1 more out-and-out number 9, João Pedro, who can play as that 9 in various other positions. I'm now 3rd in the pecking order. I want to leave. And the club are like, okay, cool. We're going to start bidding at £80 million and see what happens. I don't know. I think it's an interesting development because it's almost like Jackson has gone, all right, fair enough. You've not come out and said that you want to keep me. You've actually not come out and said you want to sell me. You're basically saying you'll listen to offers. I'll make the decision for you. I want to leave. See you later. And that's perfectly fine. I respect his decision if he wants to go. Like I said, if Chelsea are going to try and get as much money as possible for him, it's a win-win. Jackson goes to feel special somewhere else from a club that wants to buy him and use him as the number 9. The interesting thing is, where does he go? Now, the dominoes fall in place for Newcastle to be picking up Nicolas Jackson because obviously Benjamin Sesko is another summer target they missed out on, which is wild when you think about Newcastle. I kind of feel for their fans, especially that Newcastle got Champions League football and they still haven't got the pull to secure their targets. Mental. But Sesko's now going to Manchester United. Newcastle are set to lose Isak to Liverpool this window, and if they do, Jackson's there. They've expressed interest before. They don't want to pay the 80 million, of course, but if they drop it to 60 million, I'm sure that Chelsea will quite happily do a deal with them around that price. The reports of Bayern Munich asking and inquiring about Jackson, who they value at £48 million. There's also another report apparently coming from the Bayern director saying we've never spoken to him. Like, as first we've heard of it, never spoken to him. So don't know how reliable that is. Like I say to you all the guys, I just react to the headlines and give my opinions and ask for yours. I'm not saying that it's gospel. But I've also seen other reports saying that the Bayern Munich directors have been like, we've never spoken to him. So that's very interesting. Also, I don't think it makes a lot of sense for Bayern Munich to go sign Nicolas Jackson. They have Harry Kane. So Jackson is in no world getting in over Harry Kane unless Harry Kane is injured. It's as simple as that, really. So I don't know whether he'll go to Germany. The Italian clubs, we've gone in circles with the Italian clubs around Nicolas Jackson, that they don't have the funds. If a club comes in for 60 million, I feel like Chelsea will quite happily let him go to a Serie A team for that price, because I don't see wages being that much of an issue. Now, a lot of you guys were telling me in the comments that Jackson signed a contract extension last year. So it's a bit pointless to try and sell him this season. And all I say to that is it just means Chelsea can ask for more money because he's got longer left on his contract. And I feel like that plays a massive part in the Premier League clubs that are coming in for him. So it'll be very interesting to see where he ends up, because it's now been announced he will be leaving this summer. It's not a case of if, but, or maybe. It's a case of he's leaving. So this is the month he has to go. Where is he going to go? How much will Chelsea get for him? These are all the questions that people are asking. I said in yesterday's video, I do not feel like Nicolas Jackson will be a Chelsea player by the start of the season. the way that this is played out, it looks like he's going to be getting that move. It's just a matter of who he goes to. That's who I would assume Newcastle, if Isak goes. That'd be a safe bet. However, I don't want us to rely on that. If Nicolas Jackson is pushing for a move away, you could say one of the Serie A teams who have money, which AC Milan have said that they don't. Juventus have said that they do. But it's just the wage thing. They also said that about Nkunku. Now, when it comes to Christopher Nkunku, this is also something that is pretty standard procedure. He's not going to be playing any upcoming games. Jackson's also not either. Nkunku's been given leave to miss the start of the pre-season because obviously they're preparing for his exit. They don't want him playing any games to keep him fit for his new employers, which is going to be sorted out at some point. There's been no real reports in terms of anything concrete other than I think it was the Inter Milan or Juventus links that we had, I think it was last week, which we spoke about and reacted to, which I think is a very good move for Nkunku. Obviously Bayern Munich have been sniffing around Nkunku for a while. Leipzig were kind of flirting with the idea with Xavi Simons coming to Chelsea. There's not really many Xavi Simons updates other than he's been added back to Leipzig's squad for tonight's pre-season friendly, and Leipzig have been focused on the Sesko deal first, then they can then return to the Xavi Simons talks. So, it's again pretty standard. But I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. Like, where do you feel like Nicolas Jackson's going to end up? How much do you feel like Chelsea are going to get for him? Would you keep Nicolas Jackson? They're all valid questions. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Fabrizio Romano has reported, understand that Alejandro Garnacho has agreed every detail of personal terms with Chelsea. Deal done on the player side. He only wants Chelsea as revealed here since July. Talks with Man United about fee will follow soon. Chelsea pursue both Garnacho and Xavi Simons as revealed. He goes on to say that Chelsea will negotiate with Manchester United on the price of Garnacho. It's going to take some time to get this deal done, but the here we go is expected to happen this summer. Sam Wallace from The Telegraph has reported that Manchester United have told Chelsea they will have to pay £50 million to sign Garnacho. Noni Madueke deal is seen as a benchmark. Elsewhere, Newcastle could face competition from Spurs for Jackson if Richarlison leaves. Rob Dawson from the ESPN has also reported that Manchester United want £50 million for Garnacho. However, Chelsea believe they can negotiate a lower fee and negotiations could accelerate quickly over the weekend. Like we've spoken about many times, Chelsea fans, like many of you have told me in the comment section how much you don't like me talking about Garnacho. Unfortunately, the game is the game. We react to the news, we give our opinions, and you share yours in the comments. This is how this works, you know that. I apologise in advance. But it's a matter of when and not if with Garnacho. Now, shout out to every single one of you that predicted that we would end up with Gittins and Garnacho as our left-wing options right at the start of the window when we were linked with Gittins, because you guys can see the future. You can see how the window is going to play out. Now, there's a few things about this. Personal terms have been agreed. Of course they have. Of course they've been agreed because Garnacho wants this move. He's turned down other options. He just wants Chelsea. He's obsessed with it. He's been on his knees begging for this move. Fabrizio Romano has been going on and on and on and on about it every day, 40 tweets a day, every day for the last few months. It's been crazy. Chelsea have had, Win Stanley has had a long-term interest in Garnacho. Now, I've said many times, the big issue that people have with him is his discipline and his attitude, right? He's a troublemaker. He's a problem behind the scene. He's not consistent enough. He likes to take a shot, but he's not clinical enough. I hear all that. I really do. They said a lot of this about Jadon Sancho, and I feel like it could be a Jadon Sancho 2.0 where he comes in and everyone goes, oh, actually, he's a nice lad and he trains really professionally and he's working hard and he wants to fight for his position. Maybe he comes into this brand new environment and is told straight away, like, here are the ground rules, man. It's either you get on board or you go. You know, Chelsea have got a lot of options with this Garnacho deal. If we don't think we're spending £50 million on Garnacho. I do not see that being spent at all. If we do, it's an absolute joke and we should walk away from this deal right now. £50 million for Garnacho is not on right now. Considering that, like, they want to use it as a benchmark, cool. They want to use that as a benchmark, that's fine. We ain't paying that. I'm sorry. We want to spend no more than £30 million on Garnacho. Manchester United want rid of him. Chelsea know this. We're the only ones that are very interested in him. Oh, well, other clubs have come in, but Garnacho just wants the Chelsea move. I don't see us paying 50 mil. Regardless, he could come into this Chelsea environment, this new winning mentality, a completely different environment, have players like Enzo Fernandez, fellow Argentines, put his arm around, Enzo Maresca put his arm around him and say, look, you know, this is what we're going to be doing. We back you, blah, blah, blah. And it could work out very, very well. He is a talented player who's very young, 3 years of Premier League experience. I'm not saying I want this move. My stance has always been the same. I don't want this move to happen. At the same time, I've always said I will back any player that puts on this shirt because I love this club and you guys love this club too. Until they give me a reason not to. I think that's more than fair. I don't control the transfers, but we can always have a conversation about them. That's always the way I've seen it, right? Chelsea want this deal to get done. They're going to get it done, regardless of how we feel about it. But it's interesting to have conversations about it, right? I don't think Chelsea will pay 50 million. I don't think Chelsea will pay 40 million. I don't think Chelsea will pay 30 million. Do you know what I could see Chelsea really doing is dragging this out for time and time and time and time until the window is very much nearly about to close, when that light between the window frames are getting smaller and that light's getting piercinger and it's about to disappear. And then Chelsea say, how about a loan with an obligation to buy? How about we pay for a loan fee and an obligation to buy next season and try and force Manchester United's hand? Because I just, £50 million for Garnacho right now, I just don't think is right. 40 million, I could kind of argue and be like, yeah, fair enough. 30 million would be a bargain in my opinion. Because again, Chelsea have the options here. If we go and spend that money, in 2 years he doesn't work, we can flip him for a profit. But in 2 years, if he does work out, he's going to be worth a lot more than the 30 million we pay for him. Prime example, Nicolas Jackson and Noni Madueke. I put them in very similar categories. Young with Premier League experience and can go on and develop to be really good players. Now, whether you rate Garnacho better than Madueke or Jackson is entirely preference at this point. I personally feel like they're all in the same bracket of good players on their day, still very inconsistent, are still developing in their stage of their career. But I don't see Chelsea paying anywhere near £50 million. And I feel like Chelsea have the position of power right now. Manchester United want to offload him. They want to offload him. They want him gone. Garnacho wants to go. He could potentially do his part to drive the sale down, the cost of sale down, potentially. I don't know. Some players do. Some players don't. I just hope that Chelsea don't go all in over the weekend and be like, yeah, cool, let's just get it done because it's agreed personal terms. Let's just chuck £50 million at Manchester United's way. Because I think that is very much overspending on a player like Garnacho. But I would like to know your thoughts and opinions regarding the Garnacho to Chelsea deal, because it is going to be happening. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The personal terms have all been agreed. Garnacho's been begging for this move. Fabrizio's been going on about it. Winstanley's been obsessed about Garnacho for months and months and months, since January. That's when all the reports first started coming out. So it is going to happen. But my question to you is, how much do you think Chelsea are going to spend? Will it be a loan with obligation to buy? Will it be 50 million? Will it be 40 million? Will it be 30 million? Will there be some strange deal where Garnacho comes our way and Kunku goes the other? Who knows? Chelsea are very unpredictable in this market in terms of, you know, what they negotiate. But I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Garnacho to Chelsea. And that's the latest Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one. And I mean that, you're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.